Welcome back, it's me. I'm here to drop some more crypto knowledge on y'all. Got a great response to my previous episode 1, so figured I would come back with some more beginner's knowledge in crypto. First off, some vocabulary. So you're going to be hearing a lot of these words and phrases if you get involved in either online communities like Reddit or Telegram or Slack, where there's a lot of talk about crypto related things. One of the main things that you will hear first and most often that I see in a lot of channels is when moon or when Lambo. And that is essentially asking, when are we going to get rich, or when am I going to get rich?
I think this is only the beginning. I think even if we don't hit moon in short term, Neo is still like the I would say the absolutely most undervalued crypto right now.
And so my first moon price point is with Ripple, or XRP specifically, the cryptocurrency in the Ripple protocol. For that, I think a price point of $1 or £1 has been my kind of idea of the moon.
Allí está, jefe. Ya, pues acuéstate que mañana a las 8. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas y el bañador. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea.
When moon means when are we going to the moon, or when are we going over the moon, meaning when are we going to grow so fast that we skyrocket all the way to the moon. When Lambo is essentially, when am I going to have enough money to buy a Lambo, as if everybody wants a Lambo. It's kind of unrealistic. I have a couple of issues with these phrases. First off, being that they're often spammed in channels. Secondly, it is a rather selfish thing to ask. Rather than saying, when is the project going to be successful? When are we going to see a product release? Or when anything else, this is a selfish, when is this going to benefit me? When are you going to do something to make me money? And that's not helping the project. It's not helping the community. It's not helping anyone. So feel free to respectfully suggest to these folks that they up their maturity level or act a bit more professionally. In the community I'm involved with, we've done a great job in fostering a very mature and professional, yet still fun environment. It's a great community. Another phrase you'll hear often is TA, or technical analysis. This has to do with analyzing statistics and graphs to try and predict trends or outcomes in the markets. You'll see TA on specific tokens, things like Ethereum or whatever token or coin you choose to look at for the TA analysis. Along with TA, you'll hear things like support lines. And this has to do with the trends of tokens or coins going up and coming down.
So this right here in Bitcoin is a support level that happened after 2015.
And they'll draw lines along the ridges so that they can see the trends, and the support lines mean if a token or if the price of a crypto asset drops or rises to a certain level and then it bounces, and it does this a few times at the same level, then it's established a support line where it typically does not drop below or rise above a certain price point. And that price could be reflected in fiat as US dollars, or in a trading pair asset like Bitcoin. A lot of assets on markets are traded in pairings with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Why? Because they're popular, and trading in fiat it's muddy. More phrases and words you'll see: buy and sell walls, along with the term whales. Whales mean big people in terms of their ability to influence the market. These are people that have a lot of money, a lot of influence, and or a lot of stake in the game as far as the amount of the token or coin that they hold. So these people, seeing as they have so much of the asset, are able to place buy or sell orders on the marketplace to influence certain trends. So if they, say a group of whales wanted to influence the market down so that they can acquire a lot of a certain asset at a reduced price, they would take, say, 50% of their holdings, say it's a few tens of millions of tokens, and they set up a sell wall, which means they're selling a whole lot, and it looks like a wall when you look at the charts. They establish a sell wall such that if any person on the market wants to sell their assets, they need to sell it at below that the point that the wall is set at if they want to actually see their sell go through. So it helps to push the price down by making it hard for anyone to sell above that. Similarly with a buy wall, if you set up a wall, if you put in a huge buy order at a certain price point and anyone else wants to buy at a higher or lower price point, it's going to affect their ability to get those buy orders filled. So this is something that generally whales or groups of people with large holdings will try to do to influence the market. And I say influence because I'm trying to be respectful, but it's really manipulation. And you don't see these kinds of things as often in other spaces that have to do with buying and selling and trading, like the stock market, because it's heavily regulated. And one thing that I really hope regulators come in and do is affect the ability for pump and dump groups to operate. What's pump and dump? It's another phrase you're going to encounter frequently. There are pump and dump groups, or P&D groups, where they all agree, or they're told a specific asset that when it reaches a certain point to buy a bunch. Say your asset has dropped to 12 cents, and that's their trigger point for buying up a bunch. They'll have thousands of people buying thousands of tokens, and this will drive the price up because it will eat up sell orders. And as sell orders get eaten up, the price goes up because the next sell order in line is at a higher price. So it's going to drive the price up. Why would they want to drive the price up as they're buying? Well, they're actually looking to make profit, not accumulate assets. So they'll drive the price up, and once it reaches a certain trigger point in the price, they'll all sell. Now, these will be agreed upon levels where they will buy and sell at. So it looks very unique when you look at the charts, and you can instantly tell that it's pump and dump because you'll see a ton of buy orders go in at a certain value, and then all of them will dump. They'll sell when they all reach the same point.
I always wanted to be a great one, like John McAfee. No one thinks that my coins were cheap or hot enough. I mean, it barely went up 30% for my video. This might be one of the worst pump and dumps of all time. I forgot to dump. I only pumped.
What's I am saying to so many people who said that this was going to be a con artist game, that this was going to be a scammer game. Hey, you're going to lose all your money. My wife still doesn't believe in me.
This hurts markets because it negatively affects the sell price. So if you're trying to hold, and that's another phrase, holding or HODLing means just holding on to an asset for long term. So if you're trying to hold and you're waiting for the price to rise, and a pump and dump group comes in, you'll see, oh, the volume's increasing and the price is going up, that's great, and then it will dump. And that will affect the morale of the market, essentially, and it will cause the price to typically sink even lower. thus affecting your bottom line, the value of your bag that you're holding. When I say bag and holding, think of it as you have a physical bag of coins that you're holding in your pocket. So that's where that term comes from. Other things to talk about. So regulation. This is something that has caused a lot of FUD. FUD is a term that means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When people accuse you of FUD, they're accusing you of essentially spreading bad news, whether that news is true or not. Along with FUD, you have what's called FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. So people will FUD and they'll sell because they are fearful in the market, or they'll FOMO, they'll see the price going up and they will have a fear of missing out on the rise and they'll buy in emotionally. And typically this is bad because when they buy in, it's as the price is going up. So it's usually towards the apex of the rise. So regulation is going to come in and it's going to cause a lot of FUD. Why? Because people are afraid that the regulation will cause their favorite asset to drop in value or to be more difficult, or it will slow down the rate of ICOs coming to market. I say that's a good thing. Regulation in general is a good thing. Why? Because fewer people will be out there trying to take advantage of you, and fewer people will be taken advantage of. Regulation means that fewer ICOs will come out that are either illegitimate, ill-prepared, or straight-up scams. It also means that the legitimate ICOs or projects that actually have products that they bring to market, so that legitimate projects can be highlighted where the noise will be scrubbed out. This will benefit the entire community by creating a more fertile market for good projects to prosper. In the last video, I talked a bit about why crypto is important today, why 2018 and the next 2 years, in my opinion, are going to be huge in terms of crypto assets and blockchain tech. Why should we care? As average citizens, people that may not even know about blockchain technology or have never invested, why should you become educated on what blockchain is? Why should you watch my videos if you're not participating in any crypto asset trading? That's a good question. I'm here to tell you. Blockchain technology is important because it allows for immutable transactions on an immutable ledger. I know we covered this before, but I really want to drive that home. I want to highlight it. The applications of blockchain technology are far-reaching, and it will help improve every industry in our world. Imagine this. With all of the recent drama around the last presidential election in the United States, imagine if every government official was required to utilize a blockchain financial service and a blockchain email service. Well, that would mean that every transaction, every purchase, every donation, every penny sent to or from any government official is tracked. They can't lose track of it. They can't deny it. They can't make payments without somebody knowing. They must utilize these blockchain avenues so that transparency is ensured. Likewise, with a blockchain email system, every message will be logged in the ledger such that you can't lose emails, you can't deny having sent emails, you cannot erase emails. This would be so useful for at least my world today. That is another use case for blockchain tech on top of what I highlighted last time. But where do I see blockchain and crypto assets in general in the next 2 to 5 years? This is something that people ask a lot because they're unsure where things are headed, and they want to make sure that if they invest in this industry, their investment is not in vain. Where is crypto headed? Blockchain tech and crypto assets together are going to be widespread across our everyday life, just like cell phones are, just like the internet is. The IoT, the Internet of Things, instead of sending packets of information through the internet, they will be sending tokens from one address to another, from one wallet to another, across a blockchain. This means that all of that communication is immutable. So consider the recent case of Tesla's autonomous vehicle causing a death through a crash.
This is what was left of Wei Wang's Tesla after it crashed into a barrier on Highway 101 in Mountain View. Tonight, Tesla confirms the car was on autopilot.
Why did that happen, and how could you prevent it? I'm not sure on the whys of it. I know it has something to do with the intelligence of the onboard AI. Well, why does that matter to crypto? Why does that matter to blockchain? If they had been sending that information through a blockchain and retrieving it from the blockchain, there would be no question as to what transpired. All that data would be logged forever on the blockchain, and any investigator, any insurance company could go in, requisition that information, and determine cause and liability. That would be very powerful in today's world. So moving past the next year or two into the 5-year time frame, how far is this going to reach? Well, we've seen things like Elon Musk launching Falcon Heavy and talking about taking missions to Mars. And we've heard about NASA and even Russia talking about building space stations on the moon. So how is that communication going to take place between Earth and its soon-to-be outposts? Of course it's going to happen wirelessly. There will be satellites sending wireless transmissions back and forth. But how can we ensure that that information is packaged in the right order, that things don't get lost between transmissions? If you transmit video and audio and data through the blockchain, you can ensure that all those ones and zeros will arrive on the other end in the right order, and that nothing will be lost in transmission. Other things to look for in the blockchain world: everything from smart vehicles communicating over blockchains to traffic lights communicating with those smart vehicles via blockchain, to even banks. Banks will be utilizing blockchain partly because they don't want to miss out on trends, but also because everyone can see that this technology it's rock solid. In the last video, you saw a clip of some people talking about a real estate company in New York City that plans to tokenize and possibly release an ICO. Why is this big? Because this is a signal of mass adoption by mainstream markets. And if one large real estate firm is willing to take the gamble, and in my opinion it's not a gamble, but is willing to tokenize their operations, then you'll start seeing a domino effect where everybody wants to stay on the cutting edge, on the front of the wave, and stay relevant in their respective industries. And blockchain is going to be that wave. Like I mentioned last time, you can organize smart contracts to have trigger values for anything from purchasing homes to fundraising and crowdsourced fundraising. This is something that I see the real estate industry really getting on board with. So I would say in 5 years' time, everything from your cell phone to interstellar communications to smart vehicles and even your refrigerator, all that communication Instead of being transmitted by UDP and TCP packets over the internet, they'll be tokens transmitted over the blockchain, hopefully side chains, so that all of this traffic doesn't bottleneck everyone else. Ethereum, of course, is my favorite token out of the major 5. I explained to you last time why I think Ethereum is more important than Bitcoin, and we talked about ERC20 tokens. ERC20 is a protocol on the Ethereum technology. And don't get messed up with the meaning of the letters and numbers and everything. There's a bunch of protocols for Ethereum. ERC20 happens to be currently the favorite. We talked about my favorite token, OST, last time, and the side chains, the fact that it's an ERC20 token. There are a lot of ERC20 tokens out there, and moving forward for next time, I want to highlight some of the more interesting projects that are being done on the ERC20 platform. Some of the tokens that are out on the market already or maybe coming out, and what these projects are all about, what they aim to do, what their product is, so that we can gain a better understanding of why all of this is important and why blockchain is so exciting. And I hope that you get excited too. See you next time, folks. Thanks a lot for watching.